What is up, everyone? Welcome back to GrayDays TV, and today I'm going to be talking about the murder of Jassy Correia. Jassy Correia, who was from Lynn, Massachusetts, and the mother of a 2-year-old daughter, went out to celebrate her 23rd birthday with her friends on Saturday, February 23rd of 2019. And the group went to a nightclub called Venue, which is in Boston's Theater District. So later, around 2:14 a.m., Correia is seen on the sidewalk near the nightclub, socializing with 2 other people. Minutes later, a man approaches her and the 2 are seen leaving the area, getting into a red sedan. Now, I'm assuming that she met this person in the club, and later they were able to identify that man as Lewis Coleman III. So Boston police have said that Correia, who was wearing big hoop earrings, an orange jumpsuit, and a jean jacket with an image of red lips and pink wings on the back of it, was seen entering the car near Tremont and Herald Streets, which is just south of the Mass Pike. Now, according to surveillance video reviewed by the FBI, the red sedan entered the parking lot of Lewis Coleman's apartment about 2 hours later at 4:15 a.m. And his apartment was 50 miles, about an hour's drive away from the club. She wasn't seen walking with him to his apartment. And at around 4:30 a.m., Coleman is allegedly seen on surveillance footage dragging Jassy Correia's body off the elevator and towards his 6th floor apartment. It's assumed that she was already dead at that point. And I mentioned before, it was about an hour drive from the club to his apartment, but it took him almost 2 hours to get there. So there's an entire hour of time that is unaccounted for. And I believe that's the time where Lewis Coleman killed Jassy Correia. A short time later, Coleman walked from the red sedan towards the front of the building, carrying a body with long hair and orange pants. I believe that this footage shows Coleman carrying the victim into his apartment building. Video footage from the building's lobby shows that at approximately 4:27 a.m., Coleman entered the building carrying a woman's body. I am familiar with the appearance of the victim and recognize the woman as the victim. Coleman put the victim on the floor and dragged the victim to the building's elevator. The victim was naked from the waist up and was wearing orange pants. The victim was not moving and her body was limp. A couple days later, on Tuesday, February 26th, a friend of Jassy Correia and Jassy Correia's father went to the police station around 5:30 p.m. to report her missing. Meanwhile, while the 2 were filing a report, Lewis Coleman III allegedly was making a trip to Walmart, where receipts show he purchased 3 Tyvek suits, duct tape, 2 candles, electrical tape, a mask, surgical gloves, 2 pairs of safety goggles, a respirator, and CON release bleach bath, according to reports. And he was seen driving the same red sedan, which authorities later learned wasn't registered to him and was actually registered to his mom, who lived out in California. And surveillance video at his apartment shows him arriving with Walmart bags in his hand. So the next day, Boston police released a missing persons alert, along with photos of her and the man she was last seen with, and their surveillance footage from that night. Meanwhile, video taken at Coleman's apartment showed him arriving around 10 o'clock with a very large black suitcase. And the suitcase appeared to be in new condition, and it even had the tag still on it. And a couple hours later, at about 1:15 a.m., Coleman is actually seen wheeling the suitcase out towards the elevator. A few minutes later, Coleman left the elevator and wheeled the suitcase across the parking lot and placed the suitcase in the trunk of the red sedan. Coleman appeared to have difficulty lifting the suitcase into the trunk. And between 2:44 and 4:02 a.m., Coleman is allegedly seen leaving the building several times with cardboard boxes, trash bags, a bottle of bleach, a computer tower, a black laptop case, and a small duffel bag. So a lot of suspicious evidence, basically, especially considering everything else. And Jassy Correia is never seen leaving his apartment. So throughout this time, he was obviously a prime suspect, and I guess they were able to identify him through their surveillance footage and through the club, since the club actually scanned everyone's driver's license who went into it. So that's actually really handy. I don't know if all clubs do that. I know the clubs I've always been to, they just look at them. But to scan them, that's actually pretty cool. And I think if they probably didn't do that, then it would have been a lot harder to identify Lewis Coleman. And later that day, officers came to his apartment with a search warrant to search the area. And when officers entered his apartment, they found 2 respirator masks. And they also noticed that one of the 4 sofa cushions was missing. And in a dumpster outside of the apartment complex, white trash bags, a bag containing plastic sheets, men's jeans with bleach stains and a belt, a white nylon hooded coverall, an empty box of baking soda, clear safety goggles, a respirator mask, duct tape packaging, rubbing alcohol, Walmart bags, used plastic gloves, an empty package from a car air freshener, 3 empty packages of purifying charcoal, and a sponge were recovered. So again, a lot of evidence, and this was right outside of his apartment in the dumpster. So he didn't even like try to take it somewhere else, or I mean, if you're gonna kill somebody and you got all this evidence, why don't you like divide it up into like little portions and then distribute it to like random dumpsters around the city? I feel like, are you trying to get away with this or what at this point? I mean, I'm glad he was dumb enough to do this so they could collect all his evidence against him, but come on, man, like, what are you doing? And later that day, Coleman's picture was posted by the Boston police as a suspect in a kidnapping case.
Erica, it seems Boston police believe that this may be a kidnapping. I want to get right to the man that police have announced they are looking for, his 32-year-old Louis Coleman III of Providence, Rhode Island. He is wanted in connection with the disappearance of Jassy Correia. Meanwhile, you're going to start to see these flyers all over Boston. Friends and family are putting them up in a desperate attempt to find her.
A broadcast describing his vehicle was put out by the state of Rhode Island, and he was later found after 2 p.m. on Interstate 95 near Wilmington, Delaware. And a state trooper ordered him out of the car and asked him if anyone else was inside. And Coleman reportedly stated words along the effect of, "She's in the trunk." That's basically all he said, was, "She's in the trunk." And in the trunk, police found the dark-colored suitcase that I mentioned earlier. He wrote, "Law enforcement opened the suitcase and observed a black plastic bag inside the suitcase. Inside the black plastic bag was a light-colored sofa cushion cover. Inside the cushion cover was the body of a woman who appeared to be the victim, who was deceased. The windshield of the sedan was cracked in 2 places near the passenger side." So it is believed that he initially attacked Jassy Correia inside of the sedan, and judging by the cracks in the windshield, she put up a pretty good fight. And when Louis Coleman was arrested, he actually had a large bandage on the side of his face, and when the state trooper asked him about it, he basically just said that it was from the girl. That's all he said. And after they examined the body, they were able to determine that Correia died from blunt force trauma and strangulation. So on March 3rd, Louis Coleman appeared in court in Delaware, and he was arraigned as a fugitive from another state. He was also formally charged in Rhode Island, although officials at the time said they weren't sure when he would be able to be brought back and face those charges. And on that Sunday, federal charges were officially announced against Louis Coleman. The interstate kidnapping resulting in death is the most applicable charge and carries the highest possible sentence. It's a mandatory life charge and a death-eligible charge, so that seemed like the logical choice. So on Saturday, March 9th, family, friends, and even Boston's mayor gathered at the Boston church for the Saturday morning service for Jassy Correia, and a private burial followed that service. And hundreds attended a vigil for her, which happened a couple days earlier, as well as a wake.
A community coming together in grief, remembering a young mother kidnapped and killed after a night out, as the city begins taking steps to make Boston nightclubs safer. This was an emotional vigil tonight for people mourning the death of Jassy Correia.
And a GoFundMe was set up for her daughter, and it actually raised over $150,000. And that was actually 3 times more than the initial goal. So it's really nice that people came together and raised money to help raise this little girl who is gonna grow up without her mother because of just some senseless act that happened. Like, I don't understand how things went the way they went. She got in the car with him. I'm assuming they kind of talked and vibed enough for her to feel comfortable enough to getting in the car with him. What happened in that 2-hour window to where he felt the need to assault her and murder her? To me, it's pretty clear that he didn't really plan for this at all. It just it seemed like a spur of the moment type of thing, at least to me reading the reports. But I mean, you never know, and I don't think we'll ever really know. And hopefully during his trial, we get more light on what happened to Jassy, because I'd be very interested to know what his mindset was throughout this whole sort of event. And I think this case, as well as the case I talked about earlier in the week, I think this video is going to go up after the video about Samantha. You really have to just keep your guard up, especially when you're out in a club area. But I think one of the positives we can take out of this is we can use this as a teaching moment. This can be used as a teaching moment for young women and young men, where you can't trust people that you meet that in a night. It's something you can't do. If you think that you're connecting with this person, get their number. If you gotta go home with them, take them to your place. But the more cases like this I see, it becomes clearer and clearer that you can't meet somebody and then just get in their car and go somewhere with them. There's a lot of great people in this world who are nice and won't murder you, but there's that 1%, if that, where they're just looking for a victim. And I don't know if he was just looking for a victim or if things changed during the ride, but you have to be careful. You have to be careful around here. And hopefully, with surveillance footage being so prevalent, with cameras being everywhere, crime like this goes down, because maybe they'll be less likely to do it because they know they'll be caught. I don't know. Hopefully that's a deterrent, but you never really know. But hopefully we see less and less crimes like this over the years. It's a shame. She was 23 years old. I'm 23 years old, so for your life to be over when it's really just starting at that age, it's really sad. And a little girl's growing up without her mother. A father and a mother are growing up without their daughter. It's a really sad story. So let me know what you guys think about this. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Do all that stuff. And like always, have a great day, great week, great month, great year. And I'll catch you next video.